Hey, we hit 1,000 subscribers. Let's fucking go, dudes. And 4% of ladies. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. A lot of support. Always appreciated. Let's just get straight into this session. This session is one that I've been talking about for a couple of vlogs now. It's supposed to come out last week. Now it's coming out right now. I have an overpair and get jammed on. And then later in the session, I flop a full house and just get barreled into, and it creates a $1,000+ pot. So enough of the introduction. Let's get into it. First hand of note, we look down at pocket 9s from the hijack. I open to 11 and only get a call from under the gun. The flop is great. 2-7-4 with 2 spades. So without flopping a set, this is about as good as we can get with pocket 9s. The under the gun player disagrees and bets out into me for 15. This is honestly just getting ridiculous. The last few vlogs have had a hand like this early on where I've got a middling pocket pair, I flop an overpair, either get led into or a check raise on the flop. So I've just had enough of this crap. At this point, again, he could have 10s or jacks. I actually don't know this guy at shuffle, which is pretty rare. But I've seen enough 1-2 players around my time already that they could definitely limp call 10s or jacks and then go crazy post flop once they flop an overpair. So that could be what he has. Could have a set. Could have 5-6 suited. Probably not. I think he's probably most likely got spades. I am going to raise, find out where we are, charge draw. So I raise to 40 and I get snap called. The turn is the 3 of clubs. Looks like a great card to me. That's basically an offsuit brick. I still have an overpair. Spades don't complete. 5-6 completes, but I don't think that's very likely. Again, that be damned. Under the gun bets into me for 30. This does indicate a draw to me. I feel like he would go bigger with a made hand, assuming I have an overpair or maybe a draw myself. I could raise, could call. If I raise, we're only going to call by better, but we are charging draws, which again, now is really only spades. But I think I want to call and evaluate a river. If he does have a draw, maybe he'll bluff into me again. So I just call. The river is the 4 of hearts. Again, that should be a great card. That reduces pocket 4s. I now beat 7 deuce if he was messing around. But he just jams into me for 125. I mean, what the fuck, man? I do think, I have to call, right? We have an overpair. We have a 2 pair now. We're losing to sets, 5-6. I mean, there's just not that much. If he's got 10s or jacks, he has to show me. I really just think he has a spade draw most of the time here. You tell me, what do you think he's playing like this aggressively? So I end up putting in the call, and he shows ace-5 offsuit. So we raise him correctly on the flop. He just snap calls me with a gutter and an over and gets there in the turn and wins the max. So that one hurt. We then get pocket 10s on the button straddle. I've got like $80-ish. There's a bunch of callers to me. And I ended up just shipping it in there, looking for someone to call me light, thinking I'm trying to steal, which I kind of am, kind of not. I have the best hand, obviously. But, you know, we don't get a call. We win like $25. And then that moves us on to this next hand. I'm late recording, and this is a ace-9 offsuit. And if you're wondering if that's exactly what it looks like, yes, it is. I did just put $101 in after cutoff open a 20 and button called. I have no idea what I was doing. Clearly, I was very tilted. I don't remember my mindset at this point, but I wasn't thinking clearly. I just straight up shipped my $101 in from middle position with ace-9 offsuit. I get a call from the guy on my left, which is actually kind of good news. If there's anyone I wanted to call from, it was him because A, he's deep stacked, so he's got money to lose. And B, he's a great guy. I played with him a lot. Really fun to play with. But man, is he aggressive. So we might actually have the best hand. Regardless, let's go out to a run out for $200-something. I have a 9. Oh, hell yeah. What? No, I don't. Yeah, I flopped trips. As I said, big hand. Let's just move on from that. Let's not talk about it again. I know someone's writing in the comments about how dumb of a play that was. I agree with you. Let's just forget that hand happened. So, been pretty standard so far, I would say. Let's see if we can mix it up. The heater continues as we look down at 5-6 of spades. There's a open to 15. I call. A bunch of other people call. To a flop of king 3-7 with 2 spades. So we have a flush draw and a gutter. When it gets to me, I bet out into the field almost full pot for 50. But I end up getting calls from the hijack and the small blind. The guy on my left, I'm talking super aggressive. Will not fold top pair. I do not want to keep barreling if I miss. I've already made this decision once he called. To a turn of the 9 of hearts. I don't really want to bluff into a guy that I think probably has top pair. He's not going to fold. I end up checking, and it checks around. The river is the 6 of hearts, so we make a pair. Again, I probably should be betting here. But I end up chickening out. And the guy on my left wins with a weak king deuce. So we probably could have blasted on the turn and got him off it. Do I need to be blasting a turn with a double gutter and a flush draw, multi-way out of position at 1-2? You can tell me. I don't think I need to be doing that to win. But at that point, I probably should have, so we lose the hand. I'm late to recording this hand again. My bad. I opened ace-king offsuit in early position to 25 and get calls from the low jack and the button. The flop is 3-deuce-6 all offsuit, so according to plan. And I see bet for 35, and both of them call. The turn is the 7 of diamonds, so I'm gonna do nothing but check. The guy on my left checks, and then the button checks as well, to an ace of diamonds on the river. A flush draw does complete, but I'm not super worried about it, and I've got 113 behind. I would hate for someone to be able to check back pocket nines, pocket tens, and maybe someone floated me with the worst ace. I end up jamming for 113. It's not a pot-sized bet. The guy on my left calls, and then the button calls as well. I basically think that that's not a good sign, but I flip over ace-king, and we're good. The low jack showed ace-jack, and the button muck. I then looked down at 4-9 offsuit from the small blind. It limps to the button, who's a very tight player, doesn't open a lot, and he opens to 10. Naturally out of position, I just fold 4-9 offsuit. But this was the flop. Just want to put that in there. Not every day you flop a boat. Or is it? Foreshadow. All right, it's time for a Holdem bomb pot. I love Holdem bomb pots. Again, I've said this many times. I think I'm literally the only person that prefers Holdem bomb pots over PLO or just no bomb pots in general. I think I have a huge edge post flop, so I love it. We have king 7 in the hijack. We all put in $5 and go to a flop of queen 7 queen and 9 ace king with 2 diamonds on the bottom board. So we flop a pair on both boards. I'm in late position. When it gets to me, I bet out for 15, trying to see where we're at. The small blind and the +2 put in the call. The turns are the 5 of spades and the 7 of diamonds, so mixed feelings. We're still behind any queen. Obviously, that wasn't going to change. But the bottom board, a flush draw completes, but it gives us 2 pair. But it checks to me again. This is pretty weird, right? Because the hands I think I'm getting called by the most are queens, flush draws, and aces. If I bet, I think a strong-ish queen, maybe one that made a boat, should raise, or that has a decent kicker. A flush should raise. So I think I'm going to check and evaluate rivers. The rivers are the 10 of hearts and the king of hearts. We boat up. Sadly, it checks to me again. This is a weird spot. If someone has like pocket eights, pocket jacks, something like that, we're going to split with them. I really don't know what they have that they could be calling with to check 3 ways. I think you have to have either a flush draw, a queen, or an ace. 2 of those hands we beat. 1 of those we don't. If someone has a weak queen, I really don't want them to just call if I bet small and split the pot. So I actually bet 200. The small blind folds and the +2 folds. Looking back, typically I've talked about this. I like to bet big, jam typically on turns rivers to avoid splitting the pot, but that just didn't seem like anyone had a weak queen. Maybe they had an ace and I would have scooped them. So probably actually shouldn't have bet this big this time, but I can't complain about scooping a bomb pot. And then see ace king in the +1. I opened it to 20 and get 3 callers. So Texas heads up to a flop of 8 ace deuce rainbow. I see bet for 30 and they all fold. Easy game. We take down 60 something dollars just like that. I then get pocket queens, open to 15, and the flop's a little below average. Ace king 10. So we end up checking down and actually winning multi-way. And then look down at 4-9 offsuit in a bomb pot. The first flop is 4 deuce 9 and the second flop is jack 3 ace. We flop 2 pair. When it gets to me, I bet out for 20 and get 3 callers. The turns are the deuce of clubs and the 7 of hearts. Boy, that really sucks, huh? Because now if anyone has an overpair, we are behind on the top board. I check, and then the guy on my left bets out for 50 and gets 2 calls. So obviously, I have to fold here, even if we're good. There's a lot of runouts we're not going to like. Any fade, you know, another just high card that gives someone a pair above our 9. We really don't want to see anything. So I actually fold. Interestingly enough, we were ahead. One guy had ace queen, one guy had 7-4, and the other guy had jack 5 of diamonds. So technically, it was a bad fold, but I think it was the right thing to do at the time. You guys can tell me what you think. All right, so next time we look down at ace king from the low jack. The +2 opens to 15, and this is an obvious 3-bet spot. I 3-bet him to 50, and only he calls. The flop is 6 king jack, so we flop top pair, top kicker. He checks to me, and basically I've been here for about 2 hours, 40 minutes, and I usually only play for 3 hours. So I've been here a while already, and I really have not seen too many hands pre or post flop. I've been check folding a ton, even if I open multi-way. So I'm going to check behind. Do you really need to be balanced at 1-2? I've said it before. I really don't think so. That being said, I have been very heavy on the check fold line, and this guy looks like someone that's a thinker, so I'm going to keep it balanced, play a little trappy. I check behind. The turn is a 2 of hearts. Great turn. Nothing really iffy about it. He checks to me again. And now there's no more slow playing. We have to get value from a jack, who I imagine could call a bet now after I check the flop. Queen 10, a spade draw, a weaker king. So I bet out for 35. The +2 does not do what I thought he was going to do. I thought I was either going to get a snap fold or a tank call. He raises to 100. This is a very weird line. Again, as I said, I've been very passive today. Haven't gotten involved a lot. When I get queens, the flop is ace king high. I haven't done a lot of betting. So when I bet the turn, I think that signifies some strength, or maybe he's thinking the polar opposite, and that signifies weakness because he thinks after he checked twice and I'm just taking a stab after I checked the flop. So I don't think we're behind here. Obviously, I mean, he could have king jack or a set some portion of the time, but I'm going to put in the call. I think he would bet the turn if he had something into me instead of check raising. So I put in the call. And interestingly enough, right as the river comes out, the 7 of diamonds, he just puts in $25. Honestly, I barely even saw it because I think I was writing stuff down as the hand was going on, which I usually don't do. But I kind of look and I'm like, huh? Was that a bet? And he did. He bet $25, which is not very big into the pot. Honestly, if you would have told me, I didn't want the river bet to be big anyway, so I'm cool with this. That being said, I do think a raise is in order. I didn't want to bet north of 100 on the river, even if he checked to me, because it could have been iffy. I mean, the check raise in the turn, I've got one pair here. But I do think I should put in a raise. I raised to 80, $55 more, and the +2 goes into the tank. Obviously, if he 3-bets me here, he's the GOAT. I mean, that's just amazing by him. But eventually, after going in the tank for some time, he comes to a decision. The +2 decides to call, so we must be good. I flip it over, and we are. I'm extremely happy with how I played that there. I called on the turn when I was correct. Raise on the river when I was correct. That was somewhat of a blocker bet, but honestly, if he was going to check to me, I probably was going to bet 80 or 90. I know from a pot sizing standpoint, it should be more, but I really don't want to go crazy there with one pair. So really happy with how I played that. I think we won close to the max against a hand that was clearly not that strong. Just some context for these next few hands. These are all like the last 15 minutes of the session, like bang, 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 right after the ace-king hand. So we get super involved here really quickly. The opponent in this hand, I think, is a tournament player. There was a 100K tournament going on at Shuffle that weekend, and I didn't recognize this guy, so I think that's where he's from. I've seen him only play one pot before at this table, and he called relatively light, so that's really my only thought process about him. But he's in the button and opens to 20. I called a straddle that he already did on the button with Jack 5, so I end up calling for 15 more. Shouldn't do that. It's suited, but, whatever. I'm feeling good at today's king hand. Okay, what do you want from me? The flop is 8-5-3, so we flop a pair. I check to him, and he bets 15. I can't fold for this price. I put in the call. The turn is the king of hearts. I check to him again, expecting him to continue at a large frequency, but he checks behind, so I'm putting him either on ace-queen, ace-jack, or a pocket pair below kings. The river is the 10 of clubs, completing the front door flush draw. I think we're ahead a decent percentage of the time. Even if we're not, I think a bet should get him off queens, jacks. He doesn't have top pair. The front door flush draw completed, so I bet out for 60, and he goes into the tank. He looks at me, doesn't seem really sure about it, but eventually he makes a decision. He puts in the call. I tell him he's good, and he shows pocket queen, so not sure if that's a call there on the river. I think I sized up enough, not full pop, but close. That pocket queen should find the muck because he's behind 2 clubs, which I'm going to show up with a lot of the time. So mental note, this guy calls light. This hand's going to involve the same guy from last hand. Normally, I don't know why I'm not recording the beginning of the hand, but this time I do for once. I've got 10-9, and there's like 10 minutes left in the session, so I'm just like, look, I'm going to call a raise to 10 and just start putting my headphones in and chill for a little bit. But that be damned, the flop is 10-10-9. I end up checking middle position, of course, when you flop a boat. I mean, there are some draws, sure, but I don't want to scare anyone away. The cutoff, the guy from the last hand who had pocket queens, who doesn't like to fold, bets out for 40. When it gets to me, obviously, you could raise, could call. We have the nuts here, so I don't think raising does anything, even against a guy like this. I put in the call. The turn is an offsuit queen. Obviously not the best card ever, but it's whatever. We still have a full house. I check to him, and he does not slow down. He keeps his foot on the gas for 85. Again, you could call, you could raise. If he has a 10, I would hate for something to come out that could kill any action. And this guy's already proven he doesn't want to fold. So if he has a 10, I kind of want to get it all, especially if he's got a big 10 like king 10 or ace 10. So I raise him to 200. He pretty quickly puts in the call. So we have quite the pot brewing here. The river is an offsuit king. Not my favorite card because now we lose to king 10 or queen 10 and there's a one-liner to a jack. But a couple things. One, even if he has a weak 10 that should be scared of a jack, I don't know if he's folding. I really don't. And two, if he has king 10 or queen 10, if I were to check, he should jam. I'm not 100% sure this guy would jam. I mean, yeah, there's a one-liner, so I could find a fold if he jammed, but I think he really should be going all in if he has a bigger boat than me. So if I check, there's no point. The whole point of what I'm saying here, obviously I'm never going to check, but I'm saying I should jam. If he's going to jam anyways, I'm going to call. So I end up going all in. The dealer counts it out, and it's 242. If he calls here, this is going to be a $1,000 pot. He doesn't snap call, which is great because, I'm slightly worried about king 10 or queen 10. He eventually makes a decision. He puts in the call. I show him the full house, and we're good. He shows 10-6, so that's honestly kind of crazy. If I didn't bluff the last hand, am I getting paid here? Maybe. I think I probably am, but that definitely was influencing him. I could have had nothing. Maybe he thinks I was on tilt. The one-liner to a jack, though, is pretty crazy because when I raise in the turn, I'm telling you, I probably already have a straight, maybe even queen 10, 10-9. Obviously, that's hard to put me on, or maybe pocket 9. So really happy that hand went our way. That was absolutely crazy. That was a $1,000 pot. Now we move on to our last hand, and this hand also kind of just completes everything, kind of indicates how quickly stuff can turn around in poker. I've got King Jack in the small blind, and I'm just limping. I'm sorry, I really just don't. I just want a big pot. I've got like 5 minutes left. I mean, come on, King Jack kind of sucks. I limp. The flop is Ace King 8, so it checks around multi-way. The turn is a 3, so now I think I can bet out. I bet out for 7 and get 4 callers. But the river is another king. I bet out for 25 and I get 2 calls. We win almost $100 again, just like that. That concludes this session. We were in for 300, out for $1,200 in 3 hours. So we almost made 1K. Really appreciate all the support. Hitting 1K means so much. And I will see you guys next week. CH Poker out.